Well, good Monday morning, everyone. Did you have a good weekend? And I did. I love the weekends because we usually get to see our family, our kids and grandkids on the weekend. And so treasure those days. And but having said that, I'm excited to be back with you as we finish up the book of James. You and I will have studied through the whole book by the end of this week. And it's been challenging, has it not? And that's no different for this whole chapter this week. And even today, this passage that we come to, some of us, it could really, and it may concern us. And maybe it should, because, well, let me read you the first five words. Now listen, you rich people. Yeah. Oh, I'm not rich. Well, in comparison to the rest of the world, you and I are rich because we live in America. We have some money in our wallet. We're not worried, most likely, about something to eat today. In that respect, we are rich. And he's going to talk to us about money and resources in this paragraph. But here's what I want you to get, even going into it. He's blunt. But the point is not that money is evil or that rich people are bad. No, I take this as we read through this, I want you to see it as just a warning about what happens if you and I, start trusting in our things instead of God. We've got to be aware of that. Uh, we've got to value what God is, how He is our lifeline, not our assets. And then he gets into talking about how we treat others around us. And there's some good insight there. So let me read it. James 5, 1 through 6. Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth has rotted, and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded. Their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. Wow, that is strong language, is it not? You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages that you failed to pay the workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. Those last two sentences, before I even go too far, it's kind of like cows or cattle. When the cattle are grazing in the fields or their hay or whatever, they're eating just as much on the day that they will go to the slaughter to be butchered as they do on any other day, right? Cattle don't know what's coming and they eat accordingly. It's just another day. And I think that's what James is talking about. He's reminding us in a subtle way that Jesus is coming back. And we shouldn't just be acting like it's any other day, the day of slaughter. No, we should be ready. And if that weren't clear, the last sentence, you have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. Not that we were there and did it, but sinful people just like us did crucify Jesus. But he's coming back. So, in light of that, we want to make sure that our assets do not control us that we control them. We don't want them to testify, as he says, testify in, against you. No. How do we do that? How really? Well, first of all, it's to treat everyone as equals because whether we're paying them or not, show respect. But when it comes to our actual assets, may I refer us, we're going to all look at the time that Jesus himself addressed this issue. And guess where it was? The Sermon on the Mount. And he says in Matthew 6 at verse 19, he gives us the answer to this whole paragraph that we just read in James. He says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. No, where moth and rust destroy. And that's kind of the illustration James was using, is it not? And where thieves can break in and steal. No, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. And here's the key line. I think this should be our verse for the day, though it's not in James. He says, Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that gets right to the point. That's exactly, I think, what James is saying. He's saying, don't put our trust and care in our treasures. No, we got to be generous with our things, giving of our things. And we can, and we can. See, he says, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. How do you do that? You everything that you give away to help people, to help your church, to help other Christian ministries. If you have a passion for the down and out people or in disasters, man, Franklin Graham's ministry, Samaritan's Purse, fabulous. If you have, well, of course, I always think that giving needs to start with your own church, and all the ministries that are involved with that are dependent on us being faithful in our giving. But I think it's so critical what Jesus says. James says, you have hoarded your wealth in your last days. I know it's a tough balance, but let's not be hoarders. Let's be givers. And someone once said, and I heard it initially from Rick Warren, but I think it was Randy Alcorn who came up with this phrase. On Randy Alcorn his book was called The Treasure Principle, based on Matthew 6:21. The treasure principle. You can store up treasure in heaven. So, his conclusion was, you can't take it with you, but you can send it on ahead. According to Jesus, it'll be there waiting for us. That which we have given away to worthy causes, to help people, whatever it is, you can send your treasures on ahead. Wow. James had strong words. I think Jesus had stronger words because he gives us the answer. But bottom line, in both cases, both passages, the warning is to not just grasp on and hold on to our treasures where moths can eat it, rust can take it, no one can touch it in heaven. Hey, God bless. We are off to an awesome start this week. Very challenging passage, isn't it? I think we need to prayerfully examine how we're using what God has entrusted to us. Let's do that, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same station. See you tomorrow.